KWT slaying.
What if the truth was never lost, only buried? For centuries, historians, scholars, and even colonial records have confirmed what many tried to silence. The original Israelites were a black people scattered across continents but never erased. Their skin was dark, their customs ancient, and their covenant with Yah eternal. This journey uncovers how the Spanish and Portuguese Jews, described as dark-skinned, Semitic, shared one bloodline. Chased by the Inquisition, many fled to Portugal, then beyond, preserving their heritage across borders. But the story doesn't end in Iberia. Across from West Africa, black Jews built synagogues, kept Torah, and passed down the laws of Moses. The Limba in southern Africa, the Igbo in Nigeria, the Beta Israel in Ethiopia, tribes across the continent boldly declared, "We are the children of Israel." These aren't isolated claims. These are voices rising from the dust, connected by oral histories, Torah traditions, and the unbroken rhythm of their identity. No such legacy exists among European Jews. No centuries of tribal witness, no matching traditions, no trace of ancient covenant keeping. Maps, art, and archaeology tell the same story. The Israelites were scattered, enslaved, and displaced, but never lost. The world always knew who they were. Their presence was visible, their customs alive, their story intact. This book doesn't speculate. It confirms the Israelites were black, bound by blood, culture, and covenant to the Most High. This is not just history, it's restoration. The truth was never destroyed, only buried beneath centuries of deception. Get your copy of They Always Knew We Were Israelites today, available now on Amazon.com.
Salama family, Salama, how y'all doing today? Hope you're blessed and highly favored. So fam, I told y'all in the past, I got a lot of stuff I got to get out. I don't know if I'm going to get everything out. I got so much I need to get out, but I don't think there's time left. So, all of this is based upon, how I see end time prophecy coming to pass, the fulfillment of it. Most people are twiddling their thumbs, like all things remain the same. It just boggles my mind that people are, stuck in normalcy bias, right? They're stuck in normalcy bias. And I'm going to say this. If you don't know the Most High, if you don't know Yahushua as Savior, if you don't know him as God in human flesh, if you don't know what the true gospel is, right? The gospel of salvation and the gospel of grace or the gospel of the kingdom, right? You don't have much time left. That's all I got to say. I mean, people want you to put a time on it and a date on it. And, I'm not the Most High. I can't do that. I could just say it's near, right? Even at the door. That's about all I can tell you. And based upon what I'm seeing, and I'm not trying to make people afraid, but what I have noticed is that people have become complacent. They've become complacent. And the other thing that I've noticed, have y'all, give me a one if you saw the movie Idiocracy. Give me a two if you haven't. Because I've seen that come to pass as well. And I'm like, wow. I mean, how did they pull off such a thing, right? Literally the people are idiots, right? And so, in Idiocracy, it was so bad that they watered their lawn with Gatorade, right? And, you think that was extreme back then, but today I can see that. I could see people watering their lawn with Gatorade. I'm not lying. That's how bad the world is. I hear all kind of things today, all kind of doctrines, all kind of stories about, we Native American, to this land, and this our land. And, Harriet Tubman was a spy, even though, she was really working for the Union to overthrow the Confederacy and get her people out. I'm like, they say, well, oh my goodness. Well, her name wasn't really Harriet Tubman. No, I'm trying not to say stupid stuff, but no Sherlock. Y'all know what I'm saying. It's awful. I'm like, it's one thing to have people, believe, Mormonism and sealed portions and, all of the other foolishness. But now it's like anything that's stupid, they're believing. Anything that's stupid it boggles the mind. And guess what? You can't correct them because they're gonna say, well, the white man changed it. Like the white man is God, and they hit every freaking historical text, right? Like they controlled the whole world during a time when they literally could not control the whole world because every nation had some levels of independence. It's just awful. And then people who don't know their history come and say, well, I'm a Native American Indian. Well, you're a Native American Indian because your mom and your dad and your great grandma were slaves. Oh, no, we were here before then because we were black. But black don't equate being Israelites. I'm like, I just can't. I just can't. But anyway, I just had to rant on that because it's just awful. That's why the Bible says don't be deceived in these last days. It is awful. People literally believe any and everything. And then they go into, some kind of spiritualism. They're going into Freemasonry. They're going into ancestor worship. I'm like, it is just, and not only that, let's not talk about the alphabets now. That's the other thing they're doing. And I'm like, you do know this world ending, right? I'm like, you do know a lot of y'all not going to be here in the next few months, right? I'm not trying to scare you. I'm trying to get you prepared. Y'all do know you're going to have trouble finding food, right? You do know you ain't going to have, unless y'all attached to some Israelites. I'm talking to everybody now. Unless you're Israelite and attached to some Israelites, you're going to be stuck here and you ain't going to have no house. You ain't going to have no job. You're going to be on universal basic income. And it's not 3 and 4 years away from that. It's not 3 and 4 years away from that. I'm going to say it like that. It is closer than you think. The crashing of this economy is closer than you think. Right? Anyway, let's get into this because we got a little talking to do because once again, some of our people still sleeping. They're not awake. They still they still Christians and, they still in the politics and they still think a man is going to save them. And, it just boggles my mind how some of them people even vote for Trump and MAGA, and they us, right? I'm like, okay, whatever. I mean, I understand some of the reasoning, but I don't see how you can stay with that, right? Based upon everything you've seen so far, it boggles my mind. But anyway, let's continue.
Hey guys, good afternoon. You know, when people tell you what they're gonna do, you should believe them. Now, when Trump was running his campaign, he told everybody what he was gonna do. He said it. And then when he made president, he already said that was the number one thing he was gonna do. Close the border and start deporting people. That's illegal. Why is everybody acting surprised? Why every time I stroll down my timeline, I gotta hear Trump is heartless and Trump is this and Trump is that? It's not Trump's fault that you gotta go home. And with all the crying and screaming and talking about splitting up families, no, that's y'all doing that to yourself. Y'all doing that to yourself. We are not your womb. You understand? We can't just keep saying here to everybody when we ain't got nothing. And y'all don't even care about that. Long as y'all get. So all that y'all putting your family through, that's on y'all. That got nothing to do with Trump. Nothing. And it ain't got nothing to do with his voters neither. So stop trying to bash us and give us bad names. Like if we heartless. No, we're not heartless. We are the Americans. Okay? There's law and order. And y'all broke the law, and it's time to go home. And I don't care if you broke the law 30 years ago. You should have been did what you had to do. You didn't, that's you. Not feeling sorry for you. It's time to go home.
Look, I get it, right? Okay, I get it. I get where she's coming from a natural viewpoint. I get it. I see that, you know, she's looking at the fact that a lot of these immigrants came over here and they got free, health care, free money and SNAP benefits and everything that taxpayers paid for. And they took a lot of, I get it, right? I get the fact that she feels that they need to go back to the country that they came from. I get it, right? I get it. I get where she's coming from, but here's the problem. Because, yeah, she's family, you know, obviously she is Israel, right? Ain't no doubt about that, right? My point being is, even though I understand her motivations, one, how do you support MAGA, right? Straight up racist, simple and plain, right? I just don't get it, right? How do you support Trump? I get it, right? I mean, I understand the motivation behind it, but based upon what he has done, how do you continue to support this dude, right? All right. So I get it, but the delusion after seeing what he has done and how he's removed DEI, CRT, our history, fired a whole bunch of black folks, right? That you gonna still support him and you think he cares about you? Somebody make it make sense. See, the problem is that she don't understand prophecy because she don't know that she's the target, right? She don't know that she's the target. She think it's the Mexicans and she think it's the Africans and she think it's the Guatemalans and she think it's everybody but Native American Indians. Why? I mean, not Native American, foundational Black America. Excuse me, family. Foundational Black American, because that's how they think, right? They think, well, foundational Black American. They think that because they are a U.S. citizen, that is not going to affect them. That's what they believe, right? They believe because they're a U.S. citizen, it's not going to affect them. But mind you, Trump has purposefully been going after the birthright citizenship, which are going to cascade all the way down to us. Come on now. And he's sending people to El Salvador, sending people to Libya, sending people to Rwanda. Mark my words. You don't have to listen, but they coming for us. They're coming for her. You don't have to believe me. Just wait a few months. Just wait a few months. Why? Because we're living in a dictatorship. We're dealing with Gestapo.
Tear gas. How you feel? Man, these motherfuckers, that's how I feel. They came back, they did this shit 5 years ago up in this neighborhood. Now they're back. Look what you're doing to the people. Look what you're doing to the people. We weren't here for an hour or 2 hours.
It doesn't matter.
You can't assault.
Sheriff and everyone else can provide their own support. MPD does not align with HSI. MPD should not be present. This is not what you promised.
They don't answer to me. They don't answer to me. I'm just trying to get them. You are not. This loud.
Welcome to Nazi Germany, family. Now, do I have a problem with people obeying the law? I don't have a problem with people obeying the law if it's a righteous law. But the problem is, well, they invited them in so that they could have low labor, right? Cheap labor. And these people were building your homes, picking your fruits and your veggies, cleaning your toilets, cleaning your houses, right? But now there's this big move against the Constitution, mind you, and the rule of law, and they've been circumventing the law, and they're trying to make everyone afraid so that you won't resist the law. Mr. I am the law. Can we say Judge Dredd for those who saw Judge Dredd? Our people have no idea where we're at right now, prophetically speaking. Now, here's the deal. Do you not understand and realize that with all the stuff, let me ask you all this, yes or no? Based upon everything that you're seeing, is this not prophetic? I'm just saying, this is the level of Hollywood movie chaos, right? This is Batman and Gotham level chaos. This is Judge Dredd level chaos. This is what we see in the scriptures. Kingdom against kingdom, Russia and Ukraine, ethnic group against ethnic group. That's what we have, right? Men's hearts failing, and we're going to get to that for fear. What's coming on earth? I'm just trying to get y'all to understand. There's way too much happening to ignore.
Is this what you signed up for? Is this what you want to be doing?
Lower your mask. Fucking fuck off.
Homeland Security. Why do you run to a neighborhood like this? This isn't a fucking war zone.
Now, my question to you is, why do the FBI, the ATF, and them have suppressors on their guns? Come on now. Why they put suppressors on their guns dealing with civilian citizens? Because it's to implement fear, to show forth dictatorship, to show forth the fact that if you go against us, the Gestapos are going to come and kick your door down and grab you and put you in detention facility. Oh, yeah, these are dangerous times. It's dangerous for me to say what I'm saying right now. My point being is, you best get prepared. You best get your family ready. Oh, yeah, suppressors are the same as silencers. Silencers are usually for like assassins, right? Suppressors is for the military. Now, for you military guys out there, y'all can correct me, right? But that's my understanding. So all of this stuff is happening, and we have this military presence, right, that's really above the law because they're going after people without a warrant, arresting people without a warrant, knocking down doors and stuff without a warrant, pulling you off on the side of the street out your car, right? But what most don't realize, and I'm not going into the details of the prophecies, but this is prophecy. Jeremiah 50:16. Cut off from Babylon the sower and the reaper with his sickle at harvest. And I've rephrased this before. Cut off from Babylon the immigrants who pick and reap your fruits and your vegetables and your wheat and your foodstuffs. Cut off from Babylon the sower and the reaper with his sickle at harvest, because the sword of the oppressor, let everyone return to their own people. Let everyone flee to their own land. Because of the sword of the oppressor. Let's get back to that where we saw all the guns. Because of the sword of the oppressor. Because of the sword of the oppressor.
Homeland Security. Why do you run to a neighborhood like this? This isn't a fucking war zone.
Because of the sword of the oppressor. Cut off from Babylon the sower and the reaper with his sickle at harvest. Because of the sword of the oppressor, let everyone return to their own people. Let everyone flee to their own land. Is that not what we're seeing? Yes or no, family? Is that not what we're seeing? Everything we have been telling y'all is coming to pass. And what comes after this? What comes during this time frame? Is Israel returning back to their land? That's what's next. Israel returning to their own land. Now, let's imagine, put on our thinking caps for a little second and reason how this could come to pass. How can we see the Israelites returning back to their land? Because the Bible told you you're going to flee, but y'all don't want to listen to me. That's okay, because y'all waiting for the second Exodus, and y'all think y'all going to be cruising on back to the continent on cruise ships, having your little slaves serving you your meals and your coffee for breakfast while you cruise happily away from Babylon as she sink into the ocean, back to the continent. That's what y'all want. That's what y'all expecting. But that's not how it's going to happen. See, that's why the Bible told you to flee. Why? Because there's a bunch of chaos going on. Go read Jeremiah 50:51. You're going to be going back, and here's a possible scenario. I'm not saying it's going to happen this way, but here's a possible scenario based upon what we're seeing happening today in the news. You got a lot of people who's leaving willingly, and a lot of our people who have left willingly. But then you're going to have a lot of people who are going to leave. You know why? Think about this for a second. Just think about it. I'm not saying I'm right, but think about it. Maybe this is a scenario, okay? That because millions is coming to millions, or at least there's thousands right now. Thousands have been laid off from their job. Thousands are being put on the street homeless. Thousands are getting to the point where they can't buy food. They're making it difficult to get medical attention if you're sick. So the option is going to be, well, if you want to leave, you can choose any one of these countries to flee to. You can go to Libya. Well, no, they got slavery over there. You could go to Rwanda. Well, maybe I'm going to go to Rwanda because it's not too bad. And maybe they're going to make a deal with some of the other African nations. And they're going to say, yeah, we'll take our people. Because guess what? I told you they're going to make it so uncomfortable that you're going to be willing to leave. I told you they're going to push you out. How many years ago was that video, family? They're going to push you out. I'm like, personally, I don't understand, for anybody who has a basic rudimentary understanding of the scriptures, that they don't see this as possibly, at least, being a fulfillment of these prophecies right here. I'm just saying, everything, even with the kingdom from the north and their allies that are coming to attack Babylon. We are at the stage right now where Ukraine and Russia negotiations are faltering. We are at the stage right now that there's tensions everywhere. They are threatening the Sahel nations. Michael Langley is saying that Ibrahim Traore and them are supporting terrorists, and that the U.S. is concerned about terrorists attacking on U.S. soil from the Sahel. Oh, yeah. We told y'all that was coming. How many years ago we told y'all that's coming? They're going to invade Africa. I'm just saying, when you look at the prophecies, there's not much left. There's like little pieces. And here's the thing. Here's the funny thing. People who's supposed to know better, people who's supposed to be pastors, people who's supposed to be teachers, people who's supposed to be more raised have no idea what's happening. And they don't want a congregation. And then the same ones that follow these people are going to be the same ones caught up with no home, no food, no shelter, no nothing, because there's no preparation and there's no unity. And look, I'm not telling you to give people your money. I'm not telling you to go move anywhere. I ain't telling you. I'm telling you to prepare however you can for your immediate family. I'm telling you to form an alliance with your immediate family, your extended family, all the way out to the Israelites that you trust. There's not many of those today, though, either. The Bible says, because of the sword of the oppressor, let everyone return to their own people. Let everyone flee to their own land. And guess what? It just so happens, you read a little further, who's going back to their land too? Come on now. First, everyone goes back to their land. Come on. Do y'all want me to show the scripture? First, everyone returned to their land. And who are the other people returning back to their land? I wonder. Let's go see right quick. Let's go see. Israel is a scattered flock. that lions have chased away. The first to devour them was the king of Assyria. The last to crush their bones was Nebuchadnezzar, king of Babylon. Therefore, this is what Yahuwah says, the Elohim of Israel. I will punish the king of Babylon and his land as I punished the king of Assyria, but I will what? Bring Israel back to their own pasture. So you got everyone going back to their land. They're getting kicked out. And then guess who happens to be going back to? The Israelites. Coincidence? So you got this whole immigration thing, people being sent back to their own land. Why? Because of the sword of the oppressor. And then all of a sudden, the Israelites, sound to me like all of this might be connected. Sound to me like maybe the plan was to get the immigrants out first, and then afterwards go after the black folks. Sounds to me like all of this might be connected some kind of way, huh? What y'all think? Yes? No? Maybe?
Americans are really stupid. Like, the number of Americans I've heard say that we don't need the rest of the world and we can do this without us, it really makes my brain hurt. The only reason that the US dollar is the world reserve currency is because other countries accept that as the world reserve currency. And ever since Donald Trump has been doing his insane chaos, the rest of the world is losing faith in the US dollar. They're losing faith and trust in the US system. If that happens, they will switch away from the dollar. If that happens, that's it. That's the end of the United States as anyone has ever known it. That is the end of the United States as a global superpower. After that, it will be either the European Union as the euro as the world reserve currency, or BRICS. Those are going to be the two choices. Or we're going to go to a system where there isn't a world reserve currency and it's just a bunch of countries trading currencies like we had before there was a world reserve currency. But none of these situations turn out well for Americans. It's probably better for the rest of the world, though. So here we go.
I was thinking about this. We are the.
So isn't that interesting that a lot of people are going back, you know, and why? Because there's an economic issue, right? Isn't that what we see in Jeremiah 50:51, is that there's an economic issue with Babylon, you know, a day's wage for a loaf of bread issue, right? People breaking into other people's homes because of the lack of bread. I'm like, how come all of these scenarios, right, is happening? And yes, XRP will be the new bridge currency. That's it, Brother Rob, because, you know, they're going into a new currency, right? And they're moving very fast. And you know, it's moving very fast. And like I said, I mean, you know, the least you could have done, in my opinion, is to put some money into crypto. This is not financial advice, but the economy is on a downward trend. And so you got to be prepared. You got to know what's coming. And most people are not prepared and they don't know what's coming. But here's the deal. It's time to almost go. We're about to go in the wilderness. Just my opinion. Don't beat me up for it if nothing happens. It's my opinion. Yakoba is allowed to have an opinion. And I think we're about to go into the wilderness experience. But it's not going to be the way y'all expect. Every time I hear, well, it's going to be the second Exodus. I'm waiting for the second Exodus. I'm waiting for the Most High to move me. But yet the Bible says, flee for your lives, ye who live with the daughter of Babylon. But no, y'all act like those scriptures don't exist. Y'all make up stuff as you want it to be, not as it is. But yet we can see these scenarios playing out. We can see that everyone is going back to their own home because of the sword of the oppressor. And right after that is the Israelites going back to their land. Is that a coincidence that everyone else is going back to their land because of the sword of the oppressor and then the Israelites leave? Is that a coincidence?
Coming from this video. Watch this. travel warning, if you're traveling in 2025 out of the US, you need to know 3 huge changes that are changing everything. It's a first, or you won't be able to go anywhere. Number 1, if you're trying to fly domestically in the US, your old driver's license isn't going to work after May 7th, 2025. You're going to need a real ID. You apply at your local DMV and get it done now before they get slammed. Number 2, if you're planning to travel from the US to the UK, which is Northern Ireland, England, Wales, Scotland, you're going to need for the first time a travel waiver. And that means you're going to have to apply. It's $13. It lasts for 2 years. But even if you're going for a day, you need to have the waiver. And there is another group of European countries, 30 of them, like France, Germany, Italy. They're requiring their own waiver. It's $7. It lasts 3 years. These are attached to your passport. Make sure your passport doesn't expire, because when your passport expires, these waivers expires and you have to start over.
Black people, get your affairs in order. Yes, a lot of us are holding other marginalized communities accountable for how they voted and for how they treat Black people in the Black community. While you're holding others accountable, make sure that your affairs are in order. Make sure that you have a certified copy of your birth certificate. If you have your original birth certificate, I know we don't like to walk around with our original documents. Make a copy of that birth certificate. Go to a notary public and have her certify/notarize that copy of your birth certificate. That makes that copy a certified copy of your birth certificate. When she's notarizing that copy, make sure she includes a statement that says, I'm a notary. And on all the documents, especially if they're copies of original documents, I include a statement that says, I, Tabitha, Notary Public, certify that this is a copy of the original document that is in the possession of whoever the birth certificate belongs to. If you are not carrying around your original Social Security card, do the same for your Social Security card. Make a copy of it, take it to a notary, and have her certify that copy, notarize it. If you have a passport, you can use your passport in place of that birth certificate. Reason being, in order to get that passport, you have to provide a copy, a certified copy of your birth certificate. So you can use your passport in place of a birth certificate. If you are using a copy of your passport, have that copy certified. I've talked about this in a few other videos since the election, and I've had people getting down in my comments telling me that I'm overreacting. I'm not overreacting. I'm preparing Black people. Last year, I did a video talking about laws that were passed in Texas, in Georgia, and in Florida. That law was basically, the essence of that law is that police officers in those states can legally stop you under suspicion that you are an illegal immigrant. And in that instance, you want to make sure that you have proof that you are a citizen. So it is my suggestion, just like you carry your driver's license with you everywhere you go, you want to carry proof of citizenship now everywhere you go. And your proof of citizenship is a passport or birth certificate. That driver's license is not proof of citizenship. It is a valid government ID, a valid government picture ID, but it is not proof of citizenship. In her video, she talked about needing a real ID. Everybody nationwide, adults, will need to have a real ID, and the deadline is May 7th, I think she said. I didn't know what a real ID was, so I had to go out and look it up. So to get more information on a real ID, I suggest you go over to Google, put in your state and the term real ID, and your state's website for real ID requirements should.
So if you notice, the requirement for a real ID is all at the same time of the issue with the immigrants, right? Look at the timing of all of this, with what's happening with the immigrants, that they need to see valid papers. Otherwise, you're going to be grabbed off the streets, just like they did during Nazi Germany, and put in concentration camps called detention centers. I'm like, I don't understand how people don't understand the times we're in right now. To me, it's a bit obvious, right? It's a bit obvious the times that we're in. And a lot of people, they're not going to tell you that. Why? Because, hey, I told you, a lot of people make money off of the status quo. They don't care about the truth. As I told y'all in the past about the lollipops, and nobody listened. It's the same now. Some will listen and some won't. And they're saying that a lot of people have having issues now. I'm just saying, go look at the Daily Mail.
So make sure that your driver's license is considered a real ID. Listen, Black people, the government has been attacking us for decades, for centuries, for 400 years. And the way we have been able to maneuver and make it through all of these years is because of how we share and spread information. Okay, so currently the Latino community is going through it. I just learned that Donald Trump does plan to reinstitute the Muslim ban, and there's additional information now included with that Muslim ban that's going to attack and harm the Arab community, the Muslim community here in the United States, right? And once they're all done, we're going to be watching to see what they're going to do with the 14th Amendment, which comes after us. So make sure while all of this is going on that you have your papers. Yes, we are back in that time period. Make sure you have your papers, especially if you are in the state of Texas, Florida, and Georgia, because of that law that they put in about a year ago, giving permission to police officers to be able to stop you under suspicion that you are an illegal immigrant.
So we have to understand that I'm not the only one saying this, right? There's other people saying we are in a dangerous situation right now and that people need to be cautious on how they move. But a lot of people are planning their way out, right? And I think that, it's not going to get real for most people until it comes straight to their house. And I think right now it's sort of surreal, right? Because we've never been in this situation before. Now, our ancestors have, but we haven't, right? And now we're in this situation, and you have to know how to position yourself to survive, right? And remember, a lot of people are going to make use of you, right? And want you to stay in the status quo because they make money off of the status quo. They have conferences, they have get-togethers, they have meetings that you have to go to and pay. Why? So that you can make them some money under the pretense of us coming together. But in the end, things they be a changing, and you need to be planning how you're going to survive, how your family's going to survive. What's your exit plan if you have one, or if you want to develop an exit plan? That doesn't mean you have to leave right away, but at least you have a plan. And I've been saying that for how long?
We know. We know.
White people.
Okay, white America. I come with a message from Black America. We are leaving. We are leaving. You have won. We are leaving. All of us are leaving. All the colored people, all the brown people, we are leaving. You're going to get what you want. We are leaving. We are leaving, okay? You're going to get what you want. You say you all want us out of America. We are leaving. We are leaving. We promise. We have no problems leaving. As long as you leave Africa and you leave the Caribbean, don't take nothing. Just go. Just go. That's it. That's the arrangement. You leave Africa and you leave the Caribbean and don't come back. Don't take nothing. Walk out with your 2 hands empty. That's the arrangement. We will leave America, sure, to the blue eyes, to those that say they want to make America great again, to those that say black people need to leave, Spanish people need to go. We will leave as long as you leave Africa and the Caribbean. Tell me what you think. Do we have a deal? Let me know.
I agree with the brother. You know, I mean, just leave us alone and let us go. That's what I say, right? But you know they're not going to do that, right? Because Africa is, you know, too much money to be made, right? Too much money. But understand, you know, these be the times the Bible spoke of, and people are not ready to deal with it. But hey,
people, you see this video where you dey watch so. Now people when it be say they just newly land from America. People when it be say Donald Trump just newly deport from America come Nigeria. It be like the second badge now you dey see so, because the first badge already they don't land. But this one now the second batch now you just dey watch so, as I dey show you so, now the video that you dey watch so, they just dey land. So the thing wey dey for inside this matter be say at the end of everything wey they don reach Nigeria, e not get the be may be say America must still put small thing for inside their purse. Say if they reach Nigeria, their government will give the money to them. See, I not get hope say they go see that money. I help them not get hope. Me, they help them not get hope. Say they go see anything at all at all. The first thing we say, may they rehabilitate these people when we say they genuinely throw away come from America. Because they see many on but 940. Now we hear from one of America police match when he say they want deport back to Nigeria. Although the numbers of Nigeria when they want deport from America, is not too many. Not too many, now 900 or something compared to other African countries and other nationality. See, let me tell you something now. Maybe this 47 now, I don't know how many they don't already carry go Nigeria before, but at the moment now just new land where they just go receive.
Now, isn't this interesting? That, you know, it's hard to understand, but basically what he's saying is that Nigerians have to go back home, right? And it's very interesting because once again, let's look at it, you know. Flee out of Babylon, leave the land of the Babylonians, to be like the ghosts that lead the flock, right? So right now we got, you know, people leaving, and, you know, a lot of people don't think it's an issue right now, but hey, you know, it just seems to me, looks like a duck, it quacks like a duck, it seems to be a duck.
A woman who overstayed her visa is now in jail nearly 400 miles away. She says she was detained after going through TSA at Fort Lauderdale Hollywood International Airport.
This is part of the national immigration crackdown. Even people without criminal records are subject to deportation.
We were homeless in the Bahamas, and then we came here.
James Walkeen admits he and partner Lashar Smith overstayed their visas more than a decade ago when they came here from the Bahamas looking for a better life. But Tuesday, they never imagined she would be arrested at Fort Lauderdale Hollywood International Airport, they say by ICE agents.
She went through TSA. They was giving her a hard time with her ID, and they were saying that it wasn't scanning.
The Broward Sheriff's Office was called. He says she was then taken into custody.
Immigration stepped in, and they determined that she has no criminal record, but because they determined that she's an overstay, they took her in.
She says she was moved to a detention facility in Baker County, 5 hours away.
A lot of people that were birthed here, that work here, don't understand what immigration or immigrants have to go through.
But under law, if someone overstays their visa, they are here illegally and subject to deportation. The new administration has made that clear. Joaquin tells us they've tried to get their papers. It didn't happen soon enough.
A lot of red tape and confusion. It got to the point where I had to get my 24-year-old daughter to refile again for me. I've been here since I was 8, back and forth to the Bahamas. This country is all I know.
Like I said, you know, they're coming for the FBAs next. You know, y'all could trust Tariq and think y'all safe because you're an American citizen and you're an FBA and you think you're safe. No, you're the target. I keep telling y'all that. Y'all don't want, some of y'all don't want to believe me. We're the target. African countries with most immigrants listed for deportation by the U.S. Y'all don't think it's prophetic? So we got all this stuff happening, right? We got all this stuff happening. And along with that, we have signs in the sky. Now, this is a brother, Exodus Alpha. He's on TikTok. I like this brother. He's pretty interesting. He covers some of the stuff that I like. And you know, I had a little text chat with him while he had a live one day. So you know, y'all might want to check him out on TikTok.
You know, you just never know when you're going to see something really terrific, especially when somebody is doing a live stream. Have a look at this beautiful shot of Virginia Beach from a great TikToker who was out this morning. This is Wednesday, June the 4th, and she was out this morning. Look at the beautiful detail on the beach and notice she got this beautiful sunrise, even with all of this clarity and detail. Another neat thing that you notice about this image is that no matter where she turns her camera, she still gets all of this beautiful detail. I'm
gonna pause it there because of the music. I don't want YouTube hitting me. All right, so we got these, whatever that is in the sky, right?
That's there. That's there.
And that's not the sun. That can't be the sun because the sunset is over there.
That's a planet.
The sunset is over there.
Mommy, that's a planet.
And the moon is up here.
So that must be a planet.
The moon is above us.
That's there. That's there.
So what is it? I don't know. I can't tell you what that is. I did a little investigation. Apparently it's a real phenomenon, and they were saying it had something to do with, you know, some rays in the dust and all that kind of stuff in the sky.
Over there, what is this? Like, what is that? What is it? You can tell it's red because the cloud over top of it, you can see it. What is that, bro? And the sun don't even go over that far because I've been seeing the sun earlier and it wasn't in that position. It was way past that. What is that, bro? Like, bro, they just right there. I ain't scared. I don't live in fear. Shoot. What is that, though? If the sun set over there, what is that?
What is that?
Look at that shit. Huh? That shit look like, that shit fake, man. That can't be the sun. Ain't no way. Ain't no way.
Luke 21:25-26. There will be signs in the sun, moon, and stars. On the earth, nations will be in anguish and perplexity at the roaring and tossing of the sea. People will faint from terror apprehensive of what is coming on the world, for the heavenly bodies will be shaken. Mount Etna is erupting. Look, tourists flee as volcano spews ash and lava. See that? Tourists fled from the sides of Sicily's Mount Etna on Monday after it erupted, sending dense clouds of ash and gas miles into the sky. Dozens of people were seen scrambling down Europe's largest active volcano after it was shaken by tremors that were widely felt in surrounding towns and villages. Billowing clouds were visible from some distance, with images showing the eruption visible from the ancient theater of Taormina, about 45 kilometers away. USGS volcano, Kailua. Current volcano alert, watch, code orange. Episode 24 precursory activity started within Halima during the morning of June 3rd. Vigorous degassing of sulfur dioxide, nighttime glow, and intermittent lava spattering in north vent indicate that magma is close to the surface. Episode 24 is likely to begin today or tomorrow. All right. The episodic eruption is occurring within a closed area of Hawaii Volcanoes National Park. A volcano gas, primarily water vapor, carbon dioxide, and sulfur dioxide. So there's volcanoes popping up all over the planet, right? All at the times they're seeing this funny looking sun or whatever you want to call it. I don't know what it is in the sky. All right. So we have all of that, right? And so with that also, you know, with the chaos, because remember, there will be signs in the sun, moon, and stars on the earth. Nations will be in anguish and perplexity. Nations are currently what? In anguish and in perplexity, right? Now let's listen to this right quick. It's all rumor, but it's interesting regardless.
And I just got back from a trip in Washington, D.C., and I want to tell you the absolutely unhinged rumor I heard from current and former federal workers and people on Capitol Hill about what Donald Trump is about to do next. Because if it's true, it will alter the course of American history forever. I want to preface this by saying I'm not a journalist. What I'm about to share with you is just a rumor, though I did hear it from multiple people who do not know each other from multiple areas of the federal government. So with all those disclaimers, I'm going to share this with you anyway, because I think you deserve to know. Long story short, Donald Trump is trying to give Washington, D.C. to billionaire Peter Thiel. I mean that literally, not figuratively. Like, he's trying to give a billionaire control over the land and the people within Washington, D.C. The specific rumor is that instead of granting Washington, D.C. statehood like its residents have been demanding for years, he wants to actually roll back the little bit of independence that they already have of self-government. Apparently, he's considering turning the district into what some call a freedom city. Proponents of freedom cities advocate for areas and territories that are governed and owned completely by corporations, so essentially corporate colonies. So there's no federal government oversight, there's no state government oversight. Essentially, these freedom cities are ruled by CEO kings. So from what I'm hearing, the Trump administration is exploring abusing DC's existing status as a district to make it the first freedom city and give it to his billionaire buddy, Peter Thiel. This is a disaster for reasons I shouldn't have to elaborate on. Obviously, that would set an incredibly dangerous precedent. It's hugely symbolic to give the area where the federal government runs to a billionaire. We're really talking about a new era of colonization rooted in techno-fascism. And while this particular rumor is new, Trump's association with people who lobby for the creation of freedom cities is well known, and they were at his inauguration. I know it sounds far-fetched, but we really should start fighting against this now before it becomes...
It's not far-fetched, because we've been talking about this for a while now, which is smart cities. And these smart cities are going to be managed and financed by major corporations, right? Just like the city that's out there in Austin, Texas, that Elon Musk and Tesla is building, right? This is what the plan is. If you're going to have a job, you're going to be working in these corporate run cities, right? And there will be no federal government, let's say, employees, right? Maybe the military and the police. Other than that, everything's going to be run by the corporations. If you ever saw the movie Blade Runner, right? In Blade Runner, the city was run by a major corporation. This is what they're doing. They didn't told you what's going to happen, right? And so all of this aligns with, universal basic income and all of this stuff. So once again, you're going to have a choice, and it's coming real fast. It's coming real fast. And look, here's the reason that all of this is coming now, because it is part of the Great Reset. But the reset that you're being put into, right? The reset that you're being put into. Wait, dude, sound like Birdman. Who's that? I don't know what you're talking about. Anyway, the reset that you're being put into is this new oligarchic system. And that's why the Constitution is being destroyed. That's why dictatorship is happening, right? The removal of the protections for, dealing with banks and consumers. Everything is being torn down, right? Why? Because it's going to be a dictatorial corporatocracy. This is what they're building, and it's almost here. And so, a lot of people are not ready for it, and that's why they were preparing people for, civil war, because they know they're going to have some resistance. And I hate to say it, but, it's like I told y'all, some group of people going into captivity. But, hey, who am I? Nobody listens to me, right? But I've been right. I've been accurate so far. A group of people going into captivity, and it's happening real fast. Now, the question is, how do you prepare yourself for this, right? So the reason also, and I mentioned this before, the reason why the West is targeting Russia, and I mentioned this many times, and Ukraine, the whole situation, is because Russia helps Africa to keep the West out of Africa, right? So that's why they have to take Russia down first before they go into the continent. And so, if you look at the maneuvering and the machinations of what's happening, it appears right now that may be about to kick off as well, right? People are at the point of understanding, let's say on the continent, that without confrontation, I'm gonna phrase it that way. Without confrontation, there's no freedom. Without confrontation, there's no independence. And so, you got ECOWAS with their raccoonish butt, right? Angry at AES. But there's a confrontation about to come on the continent, and it's coming real soon.
In northwestern Niger as part of a 2-week regional training to combat terrorism.
In the remote sands of Tilia, Niger, something historic is unfolding. 5 African nations have launched a massive joint military operation, led by the Alliance of Sahel States. It's not just a drill, it's a message. But who are they targeting? Why is a coastal nation like Togo suddenly joining the fight? And what does this mean for the future of West Africa? Let's find out. Long before boots hit the ground in Tilia, the Alliance of Sahel States AES had already made its most defining move, not with tanks, but with paperwork. In January 2024, Mali, Burkina Faso, and Niger walked away from ECOWAS, the Economic Community of West African States. For many in the international community, it looked like a reckless gamble. But for those watching from Bamako, Ouagadougou, or Niamey, it was something else entirely. It was liberation. For years, these nations had played by ECOWAS rules, attending summits, following sanctions, and enduring lectures on democracy from wealthier coastal elites. Meanwhile, their towns were being overrun by militants, their borders were bleeding, their people were dying, and all they got in return were press statements and embargoes. The promise of regional unity had soured into a system where the most insecure countries were the most isolated. So they left. But exiting ECO wasn't just about politics, it was about survival. Without the burden of endless diplomacy or dependence on foreign troops, the AES trio was free to do what ECOWAS never could: build a military alliance rooted in shared danger, not diplomatic fiction. That's the story behind what's happening now in Tilia. These joint drills aren't spontaneous. They are the first visible product of a deeper, long-planned strategy: the creation of an African security bloc with its doctrine, its battlefield rhythm, and most importantly, its command. The Tarha Nakal 2025 exercise is part of that larger shift. It's not just a show of power, it's a signal of rebirth. The name itself, Tarha Nakal, or love of country, was chosen not to sound poetic, but to remind troops that this fight is personal. These aren't mercenaries. These are men and women defending their own homes, towns, and borders. Antilia wasn't picked by accident either. Located near a tri-border zone infamous for insurgent ambushes, Tilia was once a hotspot of fear. Now, it's being transformed into a launchpad of resistance. The town's military facility, once dusty and under-equipped, has evolved into a regional training hub capable of hosting coordinated operations between multiple nations, with barracks, command centers, and airstrip access, all refurbished not by outside contractors, but by local military engineers. The symbolism matters. This is AES soil, built by AES hands, for an AES future. But even more intriguing is who showed up. The presence of Chadian troops is expected. Chad has long been a counterinsurgency heavyweight in the region. But Togo's appearance turned heads. A coastal nation, far removed from Sahel's desert wars, had every excuse to sit this one out. Instead, it deployed elite units, eager to train and coordinate with AES counterparts. That's the shift. The war is no longer confined to the Sahel. Fear has spilled south, crossing borders, threatening stability in nations once considered immune. Togo's inclusion shows that the front lines are expanding, and so must the alliances. But this growing unity didn't come easily. It took years of frustration, betrayal, and blood. What you see today in Tilia is not just strategy, it's trauma turned into doctrine. These nations were pushed into each other's arms by a world that often ignored them. And now they're finding strength in that very rejection. Their drills are not polished. Their gear is not always new. But what they lack in shine, they make up for in resolve.
All right, so Trail and the AES Alliance understand that the West is not giving up those resources. They know that America's coming for them, France coming for them, NATO's coming for them. Even like I mentioned earlier, Michael Langley, and I have no respect for that brother, is planning to invade, all under the pretense of terrorists coming from the Sahel. So it's coming. They know it. They're preparing for it. And I think it's relatively soon. It may not be this year, but probably next year. Just my guess. Probably no later than 2027. But they're coming. But be honest with you, it may be in the next month or two, because the way the economy of the European Union is, without African resources, is just tanking. Right? They're tanking. And so they can't survive too long without those resources. And they think the resources belong to them. And so they're going to go in there and try to take control. But guess what? That's where they're going to meet their end. They're going to meet their end in the promised land. Now, this is not Ezekiel 38. A lot of people be teaching that it's not Ezekiel 38. Ezekiel 38 happens after we're back in the land. So what we have here is a confrontation that's happening based upon, in my opinion, Jeremiah 50:51, the nation of the north and their allies are going to confront Babylon and her allies, and Babylon's going to be betrayed, and she's going to be destroyed. And so all of these things are happening. All of these things are coming together all at the same time, at the right time. Now, what I'm gonna do, I'm not gonna be too long on it, but I want to get some of y'all comments. If y'all want to come on here, I'm gonna put the link out there, get your opinion on what's happening, because I would have to say, if you're not prepared, that's your own fault, right? Right? If you listen to the people who are stuck with normalcy bias and can't read the signs in the sky, it's your own fault. If you don't make preparations to have extra food, extra water for your family, it's your own fault. If you don't make preparations and plan out where you're going to exit, right? Because I picked 3 countries in Africa that I'm thinking about going to. I haven't confirmed it yet, right? But you have to know, hey, if you and your family get separated, where we're going, right? What's the first stop? What's the second stop? What's the third stop? If we can't hook up, if communication is broken, what's the plan? Right? All right. Brian, how you doing?
I'm doing all right. How you doing, brother?
I'm doing good.
That's good. I just wanted to say the things that go ahead.
Yeah, I'm gonna just ask you what's your thoughts.
Well, everything you're saying is right. And what we haven't done as Israel, we haven't returned to looking at the things that the old people used to tell us. The old people, when they would sing songs, they never sung about going up to heaven. They always sung about going back to the land.
Yeah, back to Zion, right?
Yes, sir. And it wasn't the slave masters that told them that their land was the land of milk and honey and the land of Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob. Like you said, those things were passed on through generation after generation after generation. A lot of our customs were passed on generation after generation. The old people, I'm from the South. I'm from South Louisiana. The old people made sure that you knew 2 things: the Lord's Prayer and the 10 Commandments. You had to know how to speak to your God, and you had to know how to return back to your God. And that's the things we're not teaching our children anymore. We're teaching them everything except how to return back to our God. Even though we see the signs in the skies, we see the signs going on around us. We see Isaiah 19 being fulfilled, that the hearts of the Egyptians are growing faint. The Egyptians is all the nations that carried us into slavery, into the transatlantic slavery trade, because all of them have one thing in common: Christianity. Every nation that brought us into captivity were Christians. The same nations that brought us into captivity that were Christians are the same nations that parted our land in Berlin. He said, that's what he told us. He said, the same ones that I scattered you into shall be the same ones in your land. Me being from South Louisiana, I'm Creole. I had some people in my family didn't know how to speak English. The only thing they spoke was French. And when I first started waking up, I did my DNA ancestry. And I thought for sure it was going to give me some kind of signs from Israel. But lo and behold, it was from Africa. And when I sat down, I was kind of upset, but the father said, go back and look at the slave map from 1619. And when I looked at it, I saw Negro land and I saw the kingdom of Judah, where most of my DNA come from, because the kingdom of Judah was conquered by the French. So that would explain all the French that I have in my ancestry. Because what did he say about the islands? They will be scattered and divided by their language. You will know them by their language and their tongues. But we never go back and look at those things because we've been trained to look other places. We've been trained not to really listen to the word of the Father anymore, but just to go off of what we feel.
Yeah.
So, brother,
what
I just want
city
to
in Louisiana are you from?
What, sir?
What city in Louisiana you from?
Lafayette.
Oh, you from Lafayette?
Yes, sir. I'm from Acadiana.
Oh, okay. Yeah, you know I'm from New Orleans, right?
What? And you see, that's the other part. When you go back, you look at how many people are waking up and how many people are coming from these channels. Look at where they're coming from. And look at the difference in the ones that's waking up naturally and the ones that's going through the camps. Because when I came out of Christianity, the one thing I never want, I was studying to be a pastor. But when I was studying to be a pastor, I started looking at something, and the man I was studying on, he told me to look deep into the word. What does it say? And I started hearing one thing, called by my name. So I started seeking what it meant to be called by his name. And what it means to be called by his name, it means to be led by a spirit that has a name, which is Israel, that has a people, which is Israel, that has a land that is Israel. His name is his spirit, but we don't know his spirit anymore because we're called by a different name. So we want to be called anything instead of being called everything else. Why don't we be called Yasharel? Those that are chosen, those that are true. But you'll only be called that, like you say, when you give up everything that you think you know, so you can gain the knowledge that he wants you to know.
Yep.
Not too often I sit down and listen to brothers, but I can listen to you because through your studying, you had to remember and do one thing. You had to empty yourself of everything that you thought was right because it was blocking you from what the Father wanted to tell you. How can he fill a picture that's already filled? And then when he fill your pitcher, how can it be good water if you never cleanse the pitcher when you fill it? And that's a lot of us. We want to bring our old relationship with that old God of our captivity into this new relationship with our new God of our salvation. They won't work. You can't mix the old with the new. You're going to love one and hate the other. You're going to hate the one and love the other.
You can't
so you
put
are right.
wine in those skins, right?
No, sir, you can't. And then the other part, we have to go back to watching the weather. Because the Father tells us in Job, he says, stored up in my treasury in heaven for the last day is hail and rain.
Yeah.
How much hail is coming down on the earth today? How much rain is coming down? He talks about a whirlwind. Have we ever figured out that the whirlwind is a tornado? Because in front of it is lush, but behind it is destruction. We've forgotten what the old people used to tell us. When it would start lightning and start thundering, you have to go and sit down and be still. Cover up the mirrors. Don't move because God was talking and he was working. Who's listening today? Who's being still? And with that, brother, I'm going to go ahead and.
All right. Thank you, Brother Byron, for coming on.
You're welcome, brother. You're welcome.
What's up, Judah Talks? How's it going? You got to unmute yourself.
Can you hear me?
Yeah, I hear you. How you doing?
Oh, I'm doing really good. Blessings. First of all, I'd just like to say that I believe that we're living in a time where the Most High Yah is showing our enemies themselves by having Trump in the office. He's in the office because he looks like them, and he's giving them everything he wants. See, a demon wants to torment someone. A demon wants to basically present themselves as light when they're darkness. And now all throughout time, these people, well, not time, but through our captivity, they put us in this land because of the sins of our forefathers, and they have been able to do anything they've wanted to us under the guise of righteousness, under the guise of Christianity, under the guise that they serve a God that is that's righteous, that's that is for the good of the world, when their true intentions was nothing but wickedness and evil in the beginning. So they wanted evil to come to us. They wanted to have racism and to keep their power structure intact, and they put this guy in office. They put him in office, but they didn't realize that that was just the judgment of the Most High Yah. They sped up the time clock. He's the one that looks like them. He's the one that looks like their inner heart. Their inner heart is evil. So this guy gets put in office, and now everything happens. 2019, yes, uh, everything is coming to fruition because the time clock is run out. Their sin cup is full. So now you got the children of Israel waking up to who they are. You got Africa, which is also our people, the other stick that is waking up to. We don't want to be treated like this. We don't want to be treated demoralized. We don't want our resources taken from us. We don't want to be put and be degraded and to be seen as be as less than and have we're the richest country in continent in the world and we have nothing. And we don't want to be that way. Why did that happen? It's because of the time clock. The time clock is over. Esau's time is done. It says when Esau, like you always say, and we always know, Esau's the end of the world, Jacob's the world to come. So everything is going as planned. And what I would say is this, regardless of what we see, comment on the news, all the things Trump does with tariffs and making the enemy, our allies come against us, and everybody's upset about AI. Yeah, AI has basically been put there to have more control, surveillance over us. None of it matters. It's good for us to know it because he says, "My people perish for the lack of knowledge." But it's good for us also to know the end result. In 100 years or however many years it takes for this thing to be completely the fruition of this thing, we're going to be empowered. We're going to be with our power in our homeland. We're going to be those that turned away from our sin and he healed our land. And now we're going to be those that are serving Christ and being the head and not the tail. So I just want people to think about that regardless of what happens, because it's going to happen. This is the time of things happening. But regardless of what we see and what we go through, we know that the end of the game is us with our power being restored. The curses are over. 400 years is over. So that's what gives me joy. I just want to give the people that message. I know you always give the people that message. There, we will flee. If we don't flee, they're gonna make. If we don't flee by our own admission, our own desire, they're gonna make us flee. And I think that that Trump is starting all of these immigration policies to show us what's going to happen in the future. I think that the four carpenters are awakened. Russia, China. There's going to be a time where they're going to make an olive branch or make a way for us to come back to our homeland. I think because you're seeing the beginning of it with them taking the immigrants out right now from all these Latin American countries and all that. They're getting taken out to show the world that you are under a power and a precipice that does not care nothing about you, will do anything against you. It's the Tin Horn Kingdom that's coming in fruition. And so now people don't see it for what it really is. It's a shift in the spiritual realm, a shift on the world to where law don't matter no more. Nothing matters, but it's only judgment. It's only judgment of the Most High Yah. The people will leave and go back to their homeland. You're going back to your homeland. No matter what you think, you're going back. Not because we're evil. Black people we don't want no harm to come to you. We're good-hearted people. Maybe not everybody. Maybe not everybody. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, not all of them.
I don't want no harm to come to you. But the thing is, I've gone through so much in my own life, but I know what the word of the Most High Yah says. You're going home. You're the caterpillar. You're in here right now. You're going home. So go home. Know you're going to go home. But then in the end, this place is being destroyed. That's why they bring the Afrikaners in. The Afrikaners were a part of the bloodline of those that did what is that? They did the apartheid. They're letting the YT people come in here so they can get their judgment. This America is I'll end it right here. America is the place of judgment for destruction. You come to America, you're going to be destroyed. So be happy when they allow you to get out of here, because that's the goal. They want to keep us in so we can experience their judgment. But when we leave, that's the place of peace. That's the place you want to be. So I just pray, and then I love you, love your channel. Most definitely, about your book. I'm buying your brother's book. Love it. I gave it to my whole family. Man, it's a blessing. We know where Israel's at. Oh my gosh, we know where Israel's at now.
Yeah,
Are you
yeah.
serious? Which way to Israel? We know, and we
Yep,
believe
we
it,
know.
and we study.
Yep,
So
yep.
this place, y'all should want to leave. Get out of here. If you can, get out. If you can't, uh, pray the Most High Yah will allow you, because judgment's coming, and it's coming fast. Blessings to you. Blessings to your
All
channel.
right.
Shalom.
Thank you,
Yep.
Brother Judah. I
Yes, sir.
appreciate it. New being me, welcome.
Bonsoir, mon frère. My goodness. Wow.
You got your French ready already, are you?
Je suis très content. I am so happy. Ma parle Creole kounya. Okay, I want to speak Creole right now. I want to speak in tongues. I just want to thank you for your diligent work. Now, I just want to say that's why I just thank the Most High that everything's opening up. Like the brother was saying before, talk about the whole Creole connection. Because remember, we weren't French. We were still kidnapped by the French people. And anybody who was born on this side of the continent were quote unquote Creoles. Had nothing to do with no color or skin or nothing like that. You know what I'm saying? There were Creoles born in Haiti, the mainland, or the little land also called whatever happened with the Louisiana Purchase. You know what I'm saying? You know what I'm saying? So
yeah.
I'm just really glad because all these years, the xenophobia of Haitians and Haiti and how that's America got us hating each other when our families were across the border, right across the island. Nothing I want to tell you is in the Haitian cultural thing, there's a thing called Ouida. We've been saying that word Ouida. We've been saying Igbo for I don't know how many hundreds of years. But remember when we revolted, when some of my ancestors revolted and gave them white people what they deserve, over here in that big island, they called us voodoo worshipers, right?
Yeah.
But that was Hebrew, homie. That's some Hebrew madness. That's what we did. The Wakaima was a Hebrew
Well,
ceremony.
it really wasn't voodoo, but it was Ifa and Alpha. But I
Igbo.
get you.
It was
I get
Hebrew, honey, because we voodoo. We see what you do, and we about to drum up on you. But then the white Christians had people confused and crazy. And remember, our name is IET, which is actually pretty connected to the Hebrew IET, not Haiti. And you know how these white boys are really good at mass marketing. So they got us to hate each other by changing our name to Haiti. You understand what I'm saying?
Yeah.
But that's why a lot of our brothers on this side of the island, they named other places Haiti, Hayti, because they knew we were IET. You understand? So I am so proud of you, bro. And I'm so not proud, humbled by you and your work that you're doing. That's why we need to get this movement over to the island IET quick, fast. Because if we want things to be done in the proper way, we need to have ministry over there. I remember a couple of months ago, I had a little conversation with our little brother from Covenant Awakening, and they thought I was out of my ever-living mind mentioning that. No. IET is the Africa in the Americas. As a matter of fact, when IET got their independence, that's why my great-great-grandmother's Ethiopian, because she was actually acquired. When IET got their independence, they went all the way to Ethiopia to see Menelik, okay, the Emperor Menelik, and then they became a republic. But people don't know the history. A lot of people don't know our history. They want to know his story, his storyline. You understand what I'm saying?
Oh, that's always been the case.
Exactly. So I'm just saying, I'm just loving how the Most High is using everything and speeding up this process. Like the scripture says, if it wasn't for the elect, right, he's shortening up these days. I want ones and ones to understand. I'm from a media background. So shorten up these days, and you're from a media background. That means he's fast forwarding this stuff. Okay. He's like, okay, we got to let's get this out. Let's get this going. You know what I'm saying?
No, it's moving fast.
It's fast forwarding, just like the 1900s. You remember in the 1889, everybody was on a horse and buggy. By 1901, people had cars and stuff. Because the Most High was like, y'all people too slow. We gotta speed this up because people are just like sleeping. And I really appreciate that. All this knowledge that you're bringing with Ouida, Judah, and Igbo Hebrew people, Igbo lele mayema, Igbo lele mayema. People, get your drums on. Start learning how to drum and let's drum in let's drum this movement out of here. Okay, let's get this judgment. It's not us, it's the Most High, but he still need us to be in our white, our red, gold, and green and blue for the high priest and the high priestesses in them. And we need to connect right here, right back in Africa. Now, I'm making that connection between IET, America, and let's not talk about everything that you're talking about with the whole, like, I noticed, like, whoa, Georgia, Florida, they got all these rules. That's the Louisiana Purchase, people. If you look at the Louisiana Purchase, America expanded her territory so wide and big thanks to the Black Africans who beat down those wicked men on the island. Okay, please see the expansion of how America had gone from all the South all the way up to Missouri, the Appalachia, almost to the border of California. You know what I'm saying? In Texas and them. But that's a whole nother African story that we'll get into later. Again, remember.
Okay.
But
all right. Thank you, New BME. Appreciate it.
One last thing, bro. Thank you for your information on Yeha and Ethiopia. But I do want us to one day think about, well, okay, we know Ethiopia, we know how it's going on. Can we have a discussion on who is His Majesty Haile Selassie? How does he fit in this? Maybe we can have a discussion about that one day.
We could do that. We could do that. You and I, we could do it behind the scenes. We could have a private discussion on that. So, are you there? Okay. All right. Thanks, New BME. Appreciate you coming on. Fort Living Room Homestead. How's it going?
Hey, pretty good, brother Yacoba. How you been?
Bless.
That's what I like to hear. No, brother, I'm not even gonna stay on long. I just wanted to come on and just let you know you are once again right on point. You've been dropping truth bombs on foreheads, and again, I appreciate what you do. I just want to kind of verify some of what you've been saying. Like, we just got back. We were in Africa for 3 months, as you know. We've been over there, taking care of some things, trying to do business and make the transition over. And basically, we've been back over here for a couple of weeks now, and I can tell you firsthand, the spirit of oppression here is on 12. It's just incredible. Like, having been gone and then coming back, just you can just see it on the people's faces. Just how things are. Like, I can't even bring up certain subjects just around certain people just because of the atmosphere here. And it's really interesting because while we were over on the continent, I recall I went to the bank one day. I was handling some business over there. And as soon as I walked in, the lady at the bank said to me, she said something to the effect of, how is your president doing? I said, do you see me here right now? And then she started laughing. I said, you see where I'm at right now, don't you? So yeah, she started laughing. But the point being is that everybody around the world sees what's happening, especially on the continent.
Oh yeah, except the people here, right?
Exactly. So everybody sees what's going on. They're paying attention. They know the foolishness. And honestly, I've run into more people over there who actually want us there and who are happy that we're there than don't. And this is 3 months of being there, traveling, meeting with government officials, meeting with locals, farmers, business owners. And it's an amazing experience. So I just want to say, just to people, be encouraged, get prepared and plan your way out, because it's going down here.
Yeah.
So,
all right. Thanks for coming on, Fort Living Room. Appreciate it.
Thank you, sir. You have a great day.
All right. Brother Eric, welcome.
Shalom, brother Yacoba. Can you hear me?
Yeah, how's it going?
I've seen better days, Hebrew. I've been seeing better days. My mom passed away, so I've been out of, not being on any chats or anything, just trying to deal with that loss.
Yeah, my condolences.
I appreciate that. I'm not gonna be long. Like always, bro. You always on point. You hitting the nail on the head. If the people that can't see, you know, that you're a man of Yahuwah and you're just trying to wake up his people to get us on the right track, to do what we need to do. So when it's time to leave this place, it will be less casualties and less falling by the wayside. So big ups to you for that.
Thank you.
The Most High dropped something in my spirit. And blessings to everyone in the chat and everyone that's on the panel. I think it's going to be a lot sooner than the 27th. I could be wrong. You know my disclaimer. I don't have to be right. But I think it's going to be a lot sooner because everything is speeding itself up. I mean, just exponentially. This thing is just taking off. This is Luke 21, Matthew 24. You understand? Revelations is literally playing itself out right in front of our eyes. And you know me, I'm always for us being together and getting along and not having such conflict amongst the family, because that's not what's going to help us escape, flee, run in terror, which is what flee means. And I only say that is because Esau is right behind us with his gun cocked. I'm not saying we're supposed to be upset. I'm not saying we're supposed to be anxious, because the Bible says be anxious for nothing. That would be included in us being in fear. He told us don't be in fear. But he did tell us to prepare. Israel, you need to get your house in order and be preparing for us to leave this place. I don't care what you want to call it. You want to call it flee, you want to call it gather, I don't care what you want to call it. We are leaving this place. And I told y'all before that I don't know how it's going to happen, but deportation is heavy on these people's lists. On their lips. You understand? It's heavy on their lips. And if that's the way it works out, then that's the way it works out. If the Most High decide to send the angels and we all get on a spaceship, so be it. But the way it looks is they're going to deport us up out of here.
Yep.
And they're going to have the country that they always wanted, a white country. And what they don't even understand is that's going to be their downfall, because it's going to highlight their thievery, their kill, steal, and destroy. They stole this land from the indigenous people. And the scripture said, and they stole us. They kidnapped us. They never want to use the word kidnap. They literally kidnapped us and brought us over here. Right? Numbers 21, I believe, 16. I think that's the scripture. If a man is found in your hand, you are to be put to death. Yeah, somebody check me, because sometimes I get chapter and verse mixed up. But if you are found in a man's hand, or if you have stolen a man, you are to be put to death. What you think is coming for these people? They think building these jails in El Salvador and all these freaking countries and whatnot, and even here in the United States, they don't understand. They're building them jails for themselves, because they are ones going to be occupying them. They are going into captivity.
Yeah.
What Satan meant for evil, the Most High is going to turn for our good. And just a little side note. You know how now they got this foolishness talking about these gingers are black? Family, please don't fall for this foolishness. This ain't nothing but the $5 Indian 2.0. They know these reparations is coming to us. They know it's coming. And instead of giving it to the rightful owners, they're going to try to give it to these people that's calling themselves black. They're the gingers. Don't be fooled by the foolishness. Don't be dismayed by their nonsense. Just do as our Father said do. Be about his business. Love one another with all our heart and with all our strength. And support each other. That's it. All that other stuff, don't get so caught up in trying to convince these people who we are. Don't argue with these people. I see the camp still trying to every Edomite that walk by, they want to prove we the people. For what? They're not going to believe you. They're not going to trust you. They don't think a black man could teach them or tell them anything. Why are you wasting your time? Spend that time encouraging your people to wake up and stop the foolishness and the folly. That's it. That's all I wanted to say. Love you, bless you. You may see me, you may not, because I mean, this was a gut check. You know, my mom was a good woman, and her not being here, it still hasn't registered to me. You know.
Yeah, that's got to be hard. I know you're grieving, and you know, I pray the Most High give you comfort.
I appreciate that. But blessings to you. You know, I love you. You know, I'm always in your corner. Oh, one other thing. Consider Kenya. Kenya is, if not already, is about to be South Africa 2.0.
Are they gonna get rid of Ruto?
Look it up for yourself. There's so many Europeans in Kenya buying up land and sucking up resources and so on and so forth. Don't think it's a mistake that's why they brought the UN and put it down in Kenya.
Yeah. Yep.
Okay, so just be on your guard. Keep an eye on them, but don't be worried about nothing because we almost out of here. All right, love you, bless you. I done talk.
All right, love you, brother Eric. All right, see you. Brother Fast Nickel, welcome.
Shalom, Brother Yakoba. Thanks for all of your good words that you always put out about me.
Yeah, we need to schedule another show, maybe next Friday if you want.
Okay, we'll have to just discuss what topics we want to talk about in terms of just preparation, because July, this is June, but July is when they're scheduled to come out with the ISO 20022 for America. So, and Trump, they haven't really pushed all that money that they were going to push into crypto yet, or into AI/crypto. But one of the reasons I'm coming on here is, since you're in tech field like myself, I know that a lot of us see the videos that you show. They'll see the videos on TikTok or other social media. But I think maybe that, and this is not for everybody, but for some people who work a 9 to 5, they get up in the morning, they go to work, they come home, they watch TV, they go eat, and then get up in the morning and do the same thing over and over. They don't necessarily work in an industry where they're seeing firsthand how AI is taking over their jobs, like in tech. So when you can actually see what's going on, like I was talking with my coworkers today about Google VEO3, which now they've got these videos that are made by AI, and you can't tell the difference. And when you mentioned Peter Thiel, like, I only like Peter Thiel because he's behind RSR, and I want to make money from RSR. But other than that, he's evil. These guys are evil.
Oh yeah, they're evil.
They're evil. But a lot of people are not like these billionaires. They are the ones that they are preparing. And the retail sector, like you and I, they don't really know what's coming. And so we talk about fleeing, but the bottom line is people have to have a plan. Like, you need to be prepared for what's coming. And if nothing ever was to come, that's great. But if and when it does, and we know it is coming, then what do you do? When you first started showing videos a year ago with Charles Schwab, I would say Charles Schwab. I know it's not Schwab, but of the Klaus of the European Economic Forum, and he would say, "You'll own nothing and be happy."
Yeah,
I didn't understand it initially, but now I do, because they are, through AI, through technology, they are going to remove all these jobs. But because they're going to give people universal basic income, people will be okay with it, thinking that, hey, I can sit at home, I'm still paying my bills, everything is good. But they don't realize that's just another form of slavery, that now you will be forced to do what they tell you. If they tell you to get a shot, get a chip, you have to do it, because the minute they cut off that funding, you can't buy or sell.
Yep.
And with what's going on with these AI robots now, talking about doing a oral scan of your eye, because we don't know who's real and who's not. I mean, this is only a year or two away. So maybe it's a case, because most people's lives haven't been affected, they don't see the seriousness of it.
Well, the thing is, all they know is the current economic order, right? Which is capitalism, but capitalism is gone, right? Capitalism was spend, buy, and, go to Disney World and enjoy life. All of that is gone, right? It's not going to be that way anymore, and people don't realize it. And so, they're staying with the status quo, because right now there's a semblance of normalcy right now, even though people losing their jobs, but they don't know what the plan is. Because even in those corporate run cities, it's gonna be what is it called? The Fifth Element. Remember The Fifth Element? How Bruce Willis was in his one small bedroom apartment. It was like, yeah, that's what they want, right? You're not going to have family units and family homes anymore. That's done, right? And that's why they, with the little lollipop that people took, a lot of people, if you don't disappear, you're not going to be able to reproduce. So you're gonna have to go to the government so they could, take your sperm and egg and create a kid. I mean, they got this thing planned out, and that's why I'm saying there's no options here, right?
There isn't, and I'm not saying this to promote crypto, but we know right now, when you travel out the country, you have to declare anything over $10,000. And if you have gold, silver, or even physical dollars, they may check it at the airport or wherever you're at to leave the country and not allow you to take it. But most of the time, if you have crypto, they're not going to necessarily suspect, especially if you're someone of color, they're going to figure you're too dumb to know what crypto is.
Yep.
But yeah, I mean, it's just a matter of, hey, this stuff is getting closer and closer, and just, you really just got to protect yourself and have a plan. Wherever it is that you're going to go, just have a plan. And just understand that a lot of people that you love, whether they're brothers, sisters, sons, or daughters, they're not gonna follow, and you're gonna be there by yourself.
And that's like for me, when I'm planning for me and my family, and also my extended family, and then outside of that, it'll be Israel, depending upon how the Most High want to bless me. Right. Because here's the thing, all of the plans that we have, they could fall through. Right. But, maybe the Most High will bless us so that we can be a benefit to everybody else. Because even though I know the rest of my family not thinking like I am and probably think I'm crazy, that I still have to plan for them. Right. So that's how I move,
That's the way I've been thinking as well. And just keep praying for them.
Yeah.
And as you're saying, even the people that you think you can trust, you got to kind of question them as well.
Oh, yeah.
Because you don't know if they've been talked to, or, they get shown a few dollars, and, people do crazy.
They betray you, right?
Exactly. They'll betray you for money.
Oh, yeah. And that's what the scripture says, right? That the mom going to betray the daughter, the mom, the son going to betray the father, that whole thing, right? I mean, the Bible predicts that. So It's going to be in a system like this, you know, totalitarian Gestapo tactics on the streets, right? There is no more constitution. I hope y'all understand this, right? There's no more laws. This is a dictatorship.
Right. It really is. And it was all pre-planned.
Yeah.
It's not a coincidence. But with that said, Brother Cobra, whenever you're ready to do a show, and maybe if we can do a one-on-one like we normally do, or open it up the panel to get other people's thoughts, whatever you want to do.
Okay, let's plan for next Friday, and you know, let's discuss what we should topics we should cover.
Okay, sounds good.
All right, Brother Fast Nickel. See you later.
Bye-bye.
Sister Stay, how's it going?
It's going really great, Yakoba. Great show, as always. Very informative, very enlightening. I just jumped on here just for a few seconds just to really just kind of say that, you know, it's so, when I came into the truth, I didn't understand Bible prophecy the way I understand it now. I thought I did because I had a very Christian worldview of Bible prophecy. I thought that the people over there in the theme park was the people. And I now, knowing what I know, I see so much clearer what's happening. This is what I've read about the prophets and the prophecies, Zechariah, everything that's Isaiah, Jeremiah, you name it. It's really coming into full circle. AI, the image of the beast, we can see it coming together. So, I mean, I can see other Hebrews that don't know who they are, who is out there seeing what's happening with a Christian worldview, being very frightened and dismayed, because a lot of people are waiting for the rapture. Let's just be real about it. There is not going to be a rapture as the Christian worldview has put it. And a lot of people, there's going to be a great falling away because people are going to be afraid and they're going to be confused on why they're still here, what's going on. And I think shows like yours, channels like yours is so needed. It's so prophetic. It's end times. It truly is end times to help wake up Yasharel to who they are so they don't find themselves thinking they're Gentiles. Let's just go there. I thought I was a Gentile. That's what Christianity told me, is I was a Gentile.
Yep. So
now I understand that no, I'm not a Gentile. I am part of the house of Israel. And that's very significant in these end times. So I don't want to, take a long time, but I just feel as though it is so important what it is that you do, what it is that channels like yours do to help wake our people up, because right now it is just, it's going to get worse. It's not fear mongering. This is just what we've been reading all these many years in Christianity and not understanding it. We're seeing it happen. I understand now about the four carpenters. I didn't know about them before. I'm just being honest with you. I grew up in a church. This is real. I'm not somebody who was a casual attendee. Okay.
Yeah. They never taught it.
They never taught. I'm being honest. I'm just being completely transparent. They didn't teach it. So now I'm finding out about really what is the wrath of God upon the Gentile nations and why the bowls of Revelation and the trumpets and the three woes. Why is all this happening? I understand it now. It now. So now I understand that, wow, the Gentiles are going to wear it in the end. They're going to wear it. Yeah. And it's also good for them to know why they're going to go through it. Because there's a lot of Gentile Christians who are just really, they're in that Christian worldview and they don't understand what is happening now and what is yet to come. And it is, I heard earlier in the broadcast where you're saying everything's moving very quickly. It is hyper speed. Yeah, it is. It is hyper speed and it is coming very quickly. It's not going to stop. It's like birth pains. When I was pregnant and those contractions hit, it got worse as it got closer to the time to deliver.
Yep.
And that's
Yep.
what we're experiencing: more pain, faster pain, more intense contractions. But
Yep.
we have the comfort to know that we are Yah's people. We are the apple of his eye. We're not Gentiles, like we were told for many years. We're not Gentiles. This is happening because his wrath that he has been holding for so long, he is now pouring it out. Every time he saw them throw Yasharel babies in alligators, every time he saw rapes and sodomizing and all the wicked things that took place. I'm sorry, I'm not sure if I can say that on YouTube. I apologize.
It's not descriptive. That's fine. It's broad enough.
Yeah. So, but every time the Most High saw that, I can imagine how he put all his wrath, that he was filling these bowls of wrath.
Yep.
All the time they were shooting our people in the streets, and we didn't know why they hated us. Why they hid behind something called racism, a word they created to hide our identity, because they had to put up a word so people don't think, oh my goodness, why they hate this group? What's wrong with this group?
Exactly.
So
look, the poorest people on the planet, the most oppressed, like we're a threat to anybody.
Exactly. And there's such a obsession they have with our people that they just don't leave them alone. Yet they call the so-called Black community impoverished. They're always the ones getting sick and all this type of stuff. This, that, and the next. But yet they cannot leave our people alone. They're constantly pushing drugs and everything else inside our communities. But yet now I understand why. This is truly the red dragon of Revelation, going after the woman, constantly going after the woman, not leaving her alone. And now I understand that. I have such more understanding now regarding end times. So as these judgments are falling, as Yashara, we must understand that this is Yah's wrath upon the Gentiles. So he's been holding a long time. And now, as some Gentiles, not all, but a few that understand who we are, they are coming to Israel and say, hey, by the way, can I pull on y'all and hold on to you? And by the way, I acknowledge you guys are, because they know that the judgments are falling. Now, for the Gentiles that are blinded, because the word of God says that Yah will send them a strong delusion, that they will believe a lie. They will embrace a lie with both hands open wide. This AI that's coming and this beast system that's already here, the Gentiles are going to crave it like a person with a drug addiction crave their next fix. They're going to crave it. And the Most High is allowing them to crave it so when they will have the fullness of their judgments. And it's sad, but it is justice, because what we've heard in school with the transatlantic slave trade is nothing compared to what was the reality that our ancestors went through. There's nightmares that the worst Saw movie cannot even put on film what our ancestors went through. And I think that's what Yashua must understand. And also, I remember you always said, come back to Torah. We must go back to Torah. That is so true. We must fear Yah and obey his law, statutes, and commandments. That is what we're required to do. So that is what I'm just saying, just my little 2 cents. But I wanted to add that because our people must, and that's one thing will be praying on how to proceed, because how can we just if we see someone, let his Ruach HaKodesh, his holy presence, lead us on how we can even minister to our own people, telling him, hey, you're Yasharel. You may not understand what that means because you were put in a situation. I remember there's a scripture that says where it was not our people. I think it was related to Gentiles, about how their fathers had told them lies, something like that, how they inherited lies, right? In other words, they were told lies about everything. They were told lies about who the people are. They were told lies about everything. And all the time, the people who were most downtrodden, spit upon, looked upon as they were nothing, was everything to the Most High and is everything to the Most High. And it's quite unfortunate. But the Gentiles have a lot of punishment coming to them, Brother Yakoba. And it brings me tears because I know that they cannot stop what is coming. They cannot stop it. It is coming and it's coming quickly.
Yeah, and like you were saying, they're gonna wonder why it's happening, just like we were wondering why people hated us and stuff. We didn't know who we were, and they're gonna wonder why all of this evil befalls them, but it's because of what their ancestors did. And that's the other thing for those who want to attach themselves to Israel. Well, guess what? You have to repent for your sins and the sins of your ancestors, and you have to restore us. See, they don't want to talk about that, right? About restoring us, but hey, the Most High gonna deal with everybody, and Isaiah 60 said they're going to bring us back and give us gold and silver and goods. So I'm like, we just, it's a matter of time. So, all right. Thank you, Sister Stay.
Thank you. All right.
On.
All right. Thanks. Take care.
Okay.
God bless.
All right. Bye. So I want to thank everyone for coming on the panel. Good conversation, good points made. And, also, family, I want y'all to pray for Brother Eric in his time of grieving for his mother. That's got to be very hard, but these are times of stress, judgment, trials, tribulations. And, I think a lot of us don't understand that being a believer and a follower of Yahushua is trials and tribulations, is stress. Right. And the reason that is because the Most High says he's going to make us pure without spot, blemish, or wrinkle. And the way that's accomplished is by going through the fire and having the dross burnt off. Right. And so as we make it from trials and, testing and tribulations and we come out, unscathed at the end. I mean, we might be injured initially, but then we're healed and restored. Then our faith increases, right? And as I mentioned to you all, I've been through so much with the health and the sickness and all these things, and the Most High brought me through. And your faith increases because you find out that the Most High is faithful. And so as you see these things happen and as you see the prophecies coming to pass, you might have to go through your trial, right? And the Most High will help you with a little help, right? But that don't mean he gonna put you back where you were, because we're leaving. And what was is not what's gonna be, right? Just as they're creating the Great Reset and they're creating their new system, the Most High is creating his system, his kingdom. Right. And so in the days of these 10, shall the God of heaven set up a kingdom that shall never end. And so one thing we need to understand that our lives are going to change. See, we don't think about that. Right. Because right now we're living in Babylon and under Babylon, they stole from a lot of people, took a lot of people goods, and they did whatever they want. And they, the woman disobeyed the man, and the man didn't treat the woman right, and the children disobeyed the parents, and everything is out of order. But all of that's going to be restored. But how you live your life now is going to change how you live your life in the future. The way you live your life in the future is going to be based upon Torah. How you live your life in the future, and some of you women ain't gonna want to hear this, your man gonna be your head. He gonna be over you. Right now, pretty much the woman over the man in America. But that's gonna change. The dynamics are gonna change, right? And the woman gonna be submissive to the man, and the children gonna be submissive to the wife and to the husband, right? So things are gonna be changing, but we're gonna be going through trials. We're gonna go through the fire, but we're going to come out unscathed. Now, the ones who come out unscathed is going to be those who are believers in Yeshua and those who obey the law, statutes, and commandments. And see, that's the thing. A lot of Christians still don't believe that you have to obey the law, statutes, and commandments because they misinterpreted the text. And this was by design by the Roman Catholics. But you can't tell nobody nothing, because if they don't have eyes to see and ears to hear, there's nothing you can say. You can show them all the scripture you want. You can preach to them all you want, but they will never receive. Why? Because they're blinded. And I think what's going to happen is that these trials that are about to hit America and hit the Christian church and everybody is going to wake them up. And I hear a lot of people waking up. A lot of people waking up today. At least, you know, like I shared a post in a Facebook group about this particular Christian pastor who admitted that the evangelical church weaponized the scriptures. Now, this is a Christian pastor who said this, that the evangelical Christians weaponized the scriptures, and that's true. So there's an awakening happening. You know, it's slow, and some people get partial revelation, right? Some people, you know, you got to take people where they at. They take a step at a time. Now, there's others like me. Some of you all are like me that like, you know, once you wake up, you want dig, research, pray, seek the Most High, and, you know, pursue knowledge, right? Scriptural knowledge. Others, they're slow, right? They're gonna take their little time and get a little bit here, a little bit there, and then, you know, then they may finally wake up. But that's how it goes, right? But these be changing times. And you're going to see a lot of things, right, prophetically wise, and you're going to see supernatural things. Now, I plan on doing a teaching soon. I got a lot of stuff. I told you I got to do the seals. I guess the seals will be next, hopefully. And then there's another one I want to do about our role in these end times. It's going to trip you out. It's going to trip you out from what I see. What's going to happen with Israel in these end times? It's going to blow your mind. Oh, yeah, it's going to blow your mind. And this world changing. Just put it like that, right? This world is changing. What you knew is not what you're going to know. What you are living is not what you're going to be living. And you need to realize that. You need to be prepared for the change, because guess what? You're either going into their system, which is social credit tracking, right? Drones, social media, watching everything you do, controlling you, controlling your finances, telling you what you can and cannot buy, telling you what you can lollipop or not lollipop. I'm going to put it that way, right? They're going to control you if you're in this system. But if you don't escape with us, what we call the second exodus, or fleeing into the wilderness, if y'all don't come with us, good luck surviving in this system, because there's only going to be two systems in this world. For the Yah system, which is going to be on the African continent, or here in the West, America and the Western nations, you ain't going to have no other options, right? So, you know, you can continue to stick your head in the sand and not prepare for you and your family, and not, you know, figure out how you're going to survive this thing. And then when it all hits you, then you're going to have to, you know, decide how you're going to survive, right? And some of y'all going to turn to crime. Some of y'all going to be like, I'm not going to be starving. I'm going to go pop. I'm going to break in over here. I know how y'all think. I already know, right? Y'all think y'all going to take it from somewhere else. And so that's why people going to be pew-pewing each other and, you know, according to Jeremiah 50, breaking into people's houses and stealing their goods because you don't have a job and you don't have no money. You know, I'm just telling you, this is why Israel need to come together. Israel need to have an open heart. They need to seek the Most High. We need to walk in love and compassion and not betray one another, not steal from one another, right? Like some of y'all have done. Because guess what? Some of y'all who have been stealing from people and lying on people, y'all going to be the first judge. Watch it. But anyway, fam, once again, thank y'all for listening. If you want to support this ministry, you can by becoming a patron. You can also give Cash App, $TOTW 7101, $TOTW 7101. You could go to tillministries.com, click on the donations tab. There's other options for giving as well. And family, please go ahead. If you haven't done so, go ahead and give a review for Minister Teyu's book. They always knew we were Israelites. And also give me a review. True Jerusalem, the lost kingdom of the Israelites. Peace and blessings, Israel. Your captivity is ending. Love you with the love of Messiah. Well, family, the wait is over. The moment has arrived where truth emerges triumphant from the shadows of history. Introducing the True Jerusalem, the lost kingdoms of the Israelites. The groundbreaking work by me, Yaakov Avell. A journey into the past that reshapes the future. I cut through centuries of misconceptions with piercing clarity. This book delivers a compelling case packed with evidence that commands attention and gonna get some respect. Come with me for a second, family, and discover how these thrilling civilizations flourished, protected by towering highlands and sustained by advanced engineering. Some have asked, where is Jerusalem? Is it the land in the Middle East? I say no. It is in the highlands of Ethiopia. With hours of groundbreaking research, this book brings in a new revelation, and it will transform your understanding of African history and its connections to the ancient world. It's going to remove from your mind the conditioning by the Romans of what has really happened to our past. Come with me, family, to the Ethiopian highlands and find out why this is our land. Why things have been hidden and obfuscated for centuries. We are royalty, children of the Most High. What kind of land do you expect us to have? Dried up dirt in the Middle East, or land flowing with rivers? A land full of beautiful animals flowing with milk and honey. Don't miss out on this monumental unveiling. Grab your copy today and stand on the side of truth. Visit Amazon.com or www.tailministries.com to purchase your book and join Jacoby Vale's teachings on Tail Ministries. Family, your journey to hidden history has now begun. So family, get your copy of True Jerusalem, The Lost Kingdoms of the Israelites today. Journey to the heart of Africa, where history and legend converge to reveal the forgotten kingdoms of the Israelites and the true location of Jerusalem.